What's going on, dude? Yuli, welcome to the show, man. We've been wanting to have you on here for a very long time. You are a very popular and very tough man to get a hold of. How you doing, brother?
Thank you guys, man. I appreciate the opportunity, man. I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing
We are
awesome.
doing great. We are in the midst of a 2 week training thing going on for the Army, and on
Nice.
Wednesday those orders are up because we are flying our ass to Fort Lauderdale to see this event live, and we are very
Nice.
excited about this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's talk about this card real quick, man. You, Palomino, all these slaughterhouse guys on this card. That house, I was just talking to Mike about the atmosphere inside that arena that night. I think is going to be the craziest one we've been to yet, especially with you and Palomino at the top of that bill, right?
Absolutely. We're gonna blow the roof off the Hard Rock. You know, the Hard Rock's basically in my backyard, and it's my Francisco Ricci, my opponent. He lives, I think, about 10 minutes away from there. So all his people are gonna be in there too. And I'm telling you, we're definitely gonna blow the roof off the place that night.
Well, we were at the one when we were at the event that you fought Thiago Alves at, and that was like a really strange night because they had like a like an hour delay because
Right.
of like storms and stuff. And
Yeah.
like Mike was saying, you obviously come there with an army of people behind you, and it was weird because that place was packed, and then your fight happened, and then like a portion of the crowd just fucking disappeared.
Oh yeah.
We're all like looking around like, what the hell just happened here?
Yeah, yeah, that's always why they usually put me towards the end of the card because that's what happens. Once my fight's over, everybody comes out and figures out where we're gonna go hang out. Um, and yeah, and that night was crazy. That was almost a year to the day. It was June 26th of last year, and this fight's gonna be June 24th. And we ended up fighting at about 1 in the morning. So that was
Yeah.
wild. Hell of a fight, man. Fucking, I think that's a fight that'll go down in BKFC history. And I learned a lot from that fight, not only about myself, but about what I need to do in a fight game.
You know, I got the poster of that event right there on my wall, and I got all your
Nice.
guys' signatures on that thing. And now that you said that, I do remember freaking Joey Beltran and Sam Shoemaker fighting at like 3 o'clock
2:30.
and
Yeah.
2:30 in the
That's right.
Oh
That's
my
right.
god!
I wasn't even there. I left by that time. I was already on my way home because imagine my face and head was all lumped up.
Yeah,
And I
man.
came home to some spaghettis that had been cooked from the night before, ready to
Yeah.
eat, man.
Nice.
Yeah, we were talking about that fight earlier, man. You had us really believing that you were gonna steal that fight from
We thought
Thiago
so.
from a legend, and we were like, holy shit, Yuli's gonna do it, man! What a tough fight that was.
Absolutely. Listen, I had myself believing it for a minute too, and to be honest, everybody knows I first two rounds were mine. Third round, I came in and I came off the game plan, and that's not to take nothing from Thiago Alves. He's definitely a legend. He where I messed up the game plan, he stepped up his game plan and just took over like he was supposed to, and he won the fight, man. And it was an epic fight. It's definitely going down in history. I learned a lot from it. Like I said, not only about myself, but a lot about my strategy and how to stick to the plan. Because if I would have stuck to it, I think I would have came up victorious that night.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
After that fight, your most recent fight that you had against Sawyer DP was on a short notice, about 10 days, I think. Who were you supposed to fight before that? I cannot remember. And I was looking around and I was like, I couldn't find who was billed first.
First it was Melvin Gillard.
That's
I was
Damn.
supposed to fight Melvin Gillard, and then they threw somebody else in the mix. I forgot who the second name was. And then it looked like the fight wasn't gonna happen. But regardless, I train. I'm 41 years old, man. I don't skip one day of training, even after my fight. If I fight Friday, I'll be back in the gym Monday. Just
Right.
I need to keep the wheels turning. If I miss one day, it's like I missed a year for me. As the way that my body takes it. So I just kept training. I didn't think the fight was gonna come through. And shout out to Sawyer Deppy, man. Sawyer Deppy took the fight on short notice, and the guy came through like a warrior. And he put me on my ass in the first round, man. But you guys know I'm a dog. I stood right back up, and uh, and we ended up coming out victorious in that fight.
That was a hell of a fight. And you know what, Sawyer, nobody really knew who he was. They knew that he had that one fight, I think, out in Montana or Wyoming. He was out there,
Right.
and he looked impressive out there. And then we're like, oh, that's the guy that just fought recently. Wow, he's already getting thrown into a fight against a guy like fucking Yuli Diaz. What the hell are they doing? And then he did drop, and we're like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on here? But then you pulled it together. You showed exactly how tough you actually are. And like I wanted to talk a little bit about this. Your toughness, it comes from your upbringing, right? Like you live for fighting all the way through your childhood, all the way through your teenage years. Like you stayed fighting, right?
I always stay. I always stayed in trouble, man. As far back as I can remember, I'm talking about elementary school. I got kicked out of certain classes. Believe it or not, I went to 3 different kindergartens for fighting. I was an aggressive kid. I was never a bully, but I just had, I had my issues like we all did coming up. I never had a father. I never had an uncle. I never had a male role model in my life, and that's not for a pity party. That's just facts. I just didn't have anybody to set me in a right direction. So middle school, same thing. In high school, I ended up getting expelled from school and going to an opportunity school, getting sent to juvenile detention centers. I went to prison at 23 years old for fighting on the streets, aggravated batteries and things of that nature. Did a couple of years in prison. I came out when I was almost 26 years old. And still, again, trying to figure it out. And by this point, I already had 2 kids that were 4 and like 7 years old. And so now I come out, I have to try to make a living. And only thing I knew how to do was run the streets and do things that I wasn't supposed to be doing, hanging out with people that I wasn't supposed to be hanging out with. And that just, it snowballs, man. And by the time I noticed, man, I was 35 years old. I was sick of my own shit, honestly. Um, and it was this one day I was living in Colorado, and it brought me to my knees, man. And I just, I'm not a religious guy, but I'm very spiritual. I believe in God, and I'm here because of God and my mom's prayers. And I just said, God, man, I don't want to live like this no more, man. I'm sick of this, man. It ain't taking me nowhere. I'm either gonna end up dead or in prison. And my outlet was fighting. I always loved training. I had done amateur boxing probably when I was 19, 20 years old. So moved back to Miami, started training, took a fight about 2 months later, which ended up being January of 2017, my first professional boxing match. I knocked the guy out I knocked the guy out in the first round, and it was the biggest rush of life, best high I've ever had in my life, and that's what started this train, man. And here I am, 6 years later. I get opportunities like this to speak to you guys. I got the fastest knockout in combat sports history.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fighting for one of the best promotions, upcoming promotions in bare knuckle. And it's amazing how life has done a full circle, man, where fighting with bare fists was getting me in trouble, sent me to prison. Now it's getting me paid and notoriety and good opportunities, man.
Right. And you mentioned it earlier, like you didn't really have a figure, to look up to. But however, as fate would have it, you did meet somebody in prison that's played a big role in your life that you talked about this dream with, right?
He's a huge part of my life, man. I speak to him on a daily basis. He's still in prison. He's been in there right now 38 years. When I was in there with him, I think he was on his 22nd year in prison straight. He hasn't seen daylight in 38 years now. And he was like a father figure, man. And we started training in prison. We training in prison. And I had this conversation with him probably 2 days ago. And he goes, "I'll never forget that I told you about 17 years ago, because I got out of prison in 2006. He goes, never forget, I told you about 17 years ago that you were going to be champ of the world. You're going to be number 1 in the world, man." And it's freaking crazy how it's come to fruition, man. Because like I said, I got out, and this was the furthest thing from my mind. It was figuring out what to do, and the only thing I knew how to do was the wrong thing. And but here I am today, man. I'm able to speak on it. I go back to the juvenile detention center that I was at as a kid, and I'm able to speak to kids, and I have amazing opportunities, and it's awesome to be able to share it with him. Like I said, I still speak to him on a daily basis, and it's amazing what's happening, man.
It's really amazing. That is crazy, and it's pretty cool that you stayed in touch with him forever like that. It's is he ever gonna see the light of day, or is?
Yes. Me and my family out here have been fighting for him for years. So we just got him into a program where with God's grace, he'll be out in the next year or two.
No
Wow.
way.
So yeah, man, which will be about 40 years in prison. Yeah, man.
Holy
But
shit.
yeah, he'll be out in the next year or two. And man, I'm telling you, it's crazy, man, to be even be here having this conversation about that, man, because it's life is a crazy ride, man. It's up, down, and all around, man. But here we are living it up.
That's true. That is truly amazing that after 40 years and he stayed in touch with somebody that he met in there that
Yeah,
he looks at like a son.
yeah,
And then 17, 18 years later, he's going to get out and he's going to have
yeah,
you there.
yeah.
You know
One,
what I mean? Almost like
yeah.
family's waiting for him out there. That's
Yeah,
fucking amazing.
one thing I take big pride on, man, is like I said, I never had a father figure, nothing. I grew up, uh, I didn't have any brother. I have a younger sister. She's 10 years younger than me, so I didn't really grow up with her. By the time she was 10 years old, I was already a grown man doing things. So I grew up with my friends, man. My friends were the closest thing to me. My friends were my family. So I take friendship. I don't even call it friendship, man. He's my brother. He's family. I don't say I got friends. I got family. And I take that very seriously, man. I take pride in not only being a good person to people, but being a great friend. Uh, when it counts.
And you answered one of the questions that I was going to ask you because you are like a truly inspirational story to a kid that comes from the streets and stayed in trouble. I was going to ask you if you ever go back and like visit any of the
Abs-
places that you've been to, and you already answered that question. That's
Yeah,
amazing that you do that.
absolutely. Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I do that any opportunity I can. And between me and my team Monster, we got a thing called Fighting versus Hunger also, which uh we were going out once a month, and we did this all through pandemic also. We go out once a month and we go to local restaurants, and we buy food from them, probably about up to 200 plates of food, and we go and feed the homeless, man. So and everybody, I put it on my social media, and I'll have 50 to 100 people come out, and we'll go all around certain neighborhoods in Miami and feed the homeless. So we help out the small businesses, and we also help out the homeless by feeding them.
It's
That's awesome.
it's unbelievable. And you want to know something? Like me and Mike were at work today, and like my commander, it's so funny because we are full time in the military, and all our command is like fans of what we do, and they're
Thank you
always
guys for what you do, man.
appreciate you,
Thank
brother.
you.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about something in military related in a minute here,
Yes,
but
sir.
hold on. My commander's like, you got anybody going on tonight? You guys do a show last night? I'm like, actually, we are doing a show tonight. We usually don't do Fridays, but we got this guy, Yuli Monster Diaz, coming on. And like, we've always wanted to get him on there, and he hasn't been around yet, but tonight's our night. He's like, oh, yeah, and then I showed him the knockout. I'm
Yeah.
like, check
During
this
our
shit out.
during our meeting, we have a 7:30 in the morning command meeting where all the platoon sergeants, they're all gathered around this phone.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, check this out. So they watch it, and like, the bell isn't even done ringing and the dude's out on the
Yeah.
floor, and you're jumping over into the crowd, and like they're like, holy shit, back that up. So we backed it up like 5 times. And then I'm like, the funny thing is, man, you look at this dude and he looks like the hardest motherfucker on the planet, scary ass dude. And right earlier in the comments here, Kevin Smith Brothers Combat
Oh,
Sports
that's my
says,
guy. That's my
yeah,
guy.
Kevin's the man. He says one of the nicest guys on the BKFC.
Kevin, I love you, man.
Yeah. I actually said that. I was like, you know what? He does. He's got this intimidating look to him. Me and Mike met him down at Knucklemania 1, and we shook his hand, and it was like shaking a fucking brick.
Yeah.
I'm like, but that dude, I was like, that dude is like one of the nicest people we've talked to. You never judge a book by its cover, man, for sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's like I said, that's one thing I take pride in. Also, I like to, in a fight game, you know how this goes. Everybody likes to talk shit and instigate, and do certain shit. I see no need in that. I've never seen one bad word or one diss that's made anybody bleed or lose a fight. You know what I mean? So, and I respect everybody in the fight game. I don't care who you are and what your record is. If you step in that ring, squared circle, or cage, it takes a different animal to do it, man.
Yeah, unbelievable. And so what I said, I was going to ask you something, man. You for a lot of people, they don't know that you actually joined the military.
Yes, I did.
I wanted to ask you about this because I've seen you mention it a couple times in a couple of interviews, but you always just say that you joined the military. Did you join the Army, the Marines, the Navy?
No, I was okay. So I signed up for a 4. So when I was 18 years old, in a world of trouble and all that, I had this one friend I grew up with, my closest guy. He was always a straight A student. He was always a good kid. He told me, man, let's sign up for the Coast Guard. the Coast Guard, they give you a $2,000 bonus at the time. This is in 1999. My first day in boot camp was February 1st of 2000. So he's like, man, they give you a $2,000 sign-on bonus. We signed up for 4 years, and the whole thing was like, you don't leave the United States. You know, we're in the United States as a Coast Guard. So I'm like, yo, you're doing it, I'm gonna do it. Like I told you, my friends were like my family. So I'm like, if you're gonna do it, I'll do it. So we signed up, and I went through boot camp, man. Went through hell in boot camp. They you know, at that time I had tattoos on my knuckles and all that stuff. So, and you know how boot camp is. The thing is, I always had that mentality that I knew they were gonna get in my face. They were gonna, talk in my face. And I knew there was a game. You have to play the game. If I just turn around and snap back at them, then you lose the game.
Oh, yeah.
So I played along with it, man. I graduated from boot camp. I got stationed in Panama City, Florida, on a Coast Guard cutter called Courageous, which is now decommissioned. And I was on that boat. I was living on a boat for 2 months at a time in the middle of the ocean and coming back and forth, and it was awesome. 11 months down the road, I was getting sent to Norfolk, Virginia for diesel mechanic school. And the night before, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was in Tallahassee in a club with a friend of mine that lived there, waiting for my next day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon was my flight. I got in a fight, man. I got in a fight at the club, and I was sober, and you know what I mean. As much as I hate to say it wasn't my fault, because I could put my hand on the Bible, swear to God it wasn't, but you know, it happened, and everything happens for a reason. You know, at that moment it was hard to see that, but I got sent to jail, man, and I stayed in jail for 30 days. I got put on probation. I was an 18-year-old kid. I turned 19 in boot camp, actually, so I had no direction. I always tell people, man, in a way, I think I put myself in prison because that's like something I felt like I needed to do for myself in my crazy mentality at that time. And man, I got an honorable discharge. It said honorable discharge due to civil court judgment. So, thank God for that. But yeah, I signed up for 4 years. I did 11 months in the Coast Guards.
Always fighting, Yuli. Always fighting.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I heard about. I mean, I didn't know that whole story, and it's funny that you say that Coast Guard, because I was just telling a story that I was pumping gas today, and I'm in uniform, and this older guy has this conversation with me, and it happens every time you go out in uniform. Everyone's always going to ask you a bunch of questions.
Right.
He's like, oh, how long you been in? I'm like, this. He's like, my son just joined the Coast Guard, and he's telling me all about the Coast Guard, and I'm like, bro, I don't know anything about
nothing.
What do you guys in?
We're in the Army. We're both.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I'm 21 years in. He's 14, 15, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like, it's funny that you say that. That's amazing, man. Coast Guard. You went the Coast Guard route. That's something else. Yeah, that's insane. And now look at you, man. I guess all this, everything happens for a reason.
It is. It sounds cliche, man, but it really does. And sometimes when bad things happen at the moment, you're like, why me? Or how can this happen? And then later on down the road, you see that happened for you to get to this other certain point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's crazy to say, but I mean that's the way it is.
You've seen the movie Butterfly Effect? It's like the one.
Wow, I love that movie. Yeah,
love that movie. It changes everything, and if it doesn't happen, it changes everything. So this is the road that you were meant to take, and here you are.
Right, like when you're headed somewhere, and you're in a hurry, and you get a flat tire, and you're like, what the, what the hell's going on? But that flat tire saved you from a car wreck 2 miles up the road or something,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So crazy. It really is.
It is.
You just never know. And your whole story is like living proof of like, you just don't give up, and it's not too late.
Right. Like Never too late, man. Never too late. I got
just like your documentary. That's right.
Yes, sir. I got a short film documentary. We've actually won 4 best short film documentaries in 4 different film festivals. One in LA, one in Miami, one in Monaco, and one in Oklahoma. And man, I'm telling you, it's an amazing ride, man. Life has really changed. And again, not to sound cliche, but when you put your mind to something and you stay positive, no matter what it is, even if you get something bad where you feel is bad out of it, but you stay positive thing comes your way, man.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, and you got a lot going for you, brother. I mean, like, everyone loves you. Like, I don't know anybody who's not a fan of you right now. A fan of the BK. If you're a fan of bare knuckle fighting. I don't know anybody who's not a fan of yours, but you
Thank
got
you.
a really great life going, man. Did you marry Dana Brooke, or are you guys still
We're,
engaged? You guys married?
we're engaged. We're about to get married, man. Yeah, that's another thing. I got one of the most beautiful, best women in my life, man, and it all came from from just doing right and being at the right place at the right time.
I want to ask you about like
Yeah.
with her. Did you meet her like just through people that you guys knew, or like were you a fan of
So,
her when she was a wrestler?
brother, I was never. The last time I saw WWF was in the '80s. I was like a
Yeah.
fan of like Macho Man and like Hulk
Yep.
Hogan. I was never big into like pro wrestling. I actually, so this is exactly how it happened. I had in December of 2019, I had an MMA fight. I was training with Yoel Romero. That's my guy too, and I was at the weigh-ins. I had just finished weighing in, and me and Yoel are in the car on the way to go get some food after the weigh-in, and he puts me. He's talking to Dana on speaker on not speaker. I'm sorry, on FaceTime because she's in town and she's like, "Oh look, I'm in Miami. You guys, what are you guys up to?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm with my fighter. He just weighed in. We're gonna go get something to eat. Come meet." He's like, "Come meet up with us." So he passes me the phone because she don't speak Spanish and he don't speak English. So he passes me the phone. I look at her and FaceTime. I'm like, "Wow, you're beautiful." And that's all I thought about. It was quick, and I told her, "Look, we're gonna be here." And so we got to the place and we ate. By the time she showed up, I'm already home sleeping. I'm getting rest for the next day. I'm fighting. So she finds me on Instagram and she's like, "Man, I showed up to where you guys at, but you were gone." And I didn't. I honestly, man, as street as I am, I was really innocent and naive at this moment because I wasn't thinking anything. So I was like, "Man, I got to fight the next day. I'm sorry I missed you. I would like to meet you in the future." So she's like, "Okay, I'm leaving tomorrow, but can you get my friend a ticket to the fight?" So I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll leave it at the gate. What's her name?" Boom, I left her name. I got her a ticket to the fight. I ended up winning the fight, and she hit me again on the DM. "Oh, congratulations on winning the fight." Now I'm like, hold on, there's too many DMs in a row here, you know.
Yeah.
So when do you get back in town? She said, "No, I get back in town in 2 weeks." She was on this WWE tour. So we spoke for 2 weeks on the phone. Ended up developing a great relationship over the phone, and got to know each other real well. By the time she got down here, it's like we knew each other already. And man, it was love at first sight, brother. As soon as she got down here, we got together and never left each other's side, man.
Congratulations,
Fantastic.
man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's
Thank you.
awesome. I mean, everyone needs a good woman in their life. We all
Absolutely.
we all
Absolutely.
we all got a good one, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
All three of
Absolutely.
us. If you're
Yeah.
watching, Amy, that's I hope you're watching. Now I was gonna ask you, man. I was gonna say if she's like fully retired or anything like that, or does she still have connections with the WWE? I'm saying like if when you're done fighting, you might be 41 years old, but you're young in the fight game, and you have a look to you. You got charisma to you, man. You could go over and fucking make probably some
Man,
big
listen.
dollars in the pro wrestling world.
I'll tell you something. That would be an honor. She's still part of WWE. She's a 24/7 champion right now. As a matter of fact, look,
Oh,
that's
really?
her.
Wow.
That's her belt right here.
Awesome.
That's her belt right there. Yeah.
Very cool.
She's a 24/7 champ. So, but let me tell you something. I've gone to train with her twice, and pro wrestling is not easy, bro. I'd rather get punched in the face. It is a tough thing to do, man, and it's really tough. Hats off to everybody that does it. But don't get me wrong. If WWE comes knocking, man, I'm opening that door and running through it. She got me on one time. I was supposed to be an extra, and I ended up wrestling against Dolph Ziggler on this thing called WWE Raw Underground, where it's not inside a ring. It's supposed to be like a backstreet fight on this stage. And
No
I got
way.
that wrestled, yeah, and I got to wrestle Dolph Ziggler, man. That came out on Monday Night Raw. It was amazing.
Is that on
Nice.
you? Can we find that on YouTube or anything like that?
I'm almost positive. If not, I'll have my guy Mike send it over to you.
All right. And
Yeah, definitely.
somebody was asking in the comments a minute ago, what the name of your short documentary? It's never what is it? Never
Never
too
too
late.
late. Never too late. Yeah, you could go to Don't Blink Podcast on YouTube. Don't Blink Podcast. That's my podcast. And under there, you'll find my podcast, my short documentaries, and we also have this other thing where we worked on called One Road, which is like five episodes, about 5 minutes each. It's really badass, leading up to the fight against Sawyer Deppy.
Did they have you lose to Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah, they did. They actually had me. I looked like I got knocked out. I've never been knocked out in my life, thank God. But they had me. He elbowed me in the head. I had to lay flat. They had to drag me out by my ankles off the
No way.
stage.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm looking this up when we get off of here. I'm looking it up
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm thinking like
It's called WWE Raw Underground.
Raw Underground. I was gonna
Yeah,
say like, man, when they were like, yeah, you're gonna when you looked at Dolph Ziggler, I'm sure he's a nice guy and everything, but you probably looked at him, dude. I'll fucking kill this guy. What you
yeah,
kidding?
yeah, yeah. Of course, of course, of course. But hey,
Oh,
let me tell you, Dolph is a badass too, man. He was like a collegiate wrestler or something too.
oh,
So
was he?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's cool. That's legit,
yeah,
man. Hey,
yeah.
we have we've been talking to you for about 40 minutes right now and haven't even mentioned your fight with Francisco Ricky. So
Oh yeah.
let's do this. I know that you guys are friends, right?
Yes.
You guys are boys. How did this fight come to fruition and why? Can you explain to it? Because Frank couldn't. We asked him last night, why is this an interim belt? Can you shed a little light on this subject?
Okay, so from my understanding is Thiago left BKFC, but he's still under contract. So his contract should be over, I think, in about a month or two. Once that contract is up, I'll have, well, I say I have the official belt because I feel like I'm going to win on Friday. The belt will be official. Um, how this fight,
So the interim comes off as soon as his
right? The interim,
contract.
yeah, right. The interim will come off exactly.
That makes a
Um,
lot more sense now.
right. Yeah, exactly. I just got it. This explained to me, I think, yesterday. So how this fight came to be, I'm not sure because but when I was looking, I was going to fight Mike Perry. Uh, but Francisco's number 3 in the world. I'm number 1 in the world. And since the belt is kind of, quote unquote vacant, we're fighting for the belt. Francisco's a great guy. I consider him a friend. He's one of the toughest guys on BKFC. He's come back from adversity in many fights, and not only in fights but in life itself. And I look forward to this fight, man. We're gonna put on a show for our hometown people, and this one will definitely not go the distance.
And I even feel like once this fight happens, you kind of already know who the winner of this fight is going to fight too. And I think
Right,
Mike
right,
Richmond, if Alvin
right.
doesn't come back, is going to be the very next fight for the winner of this. So we got
I,
some really good fights coming up here.
Absolutely, I agree. The thing is with BKFC, you never really know,
No.
but that would make the most sense. Would be Mike Richmond, which is another tough, badass dude. He's gone to everybody's backyard, fought them in their backyard, and beat them. So he's an amazing fighter too. So you definitely after this fight, there's a lot more fireworks coming together.
I wonder if MVP. I'm not sure how that guy's contract is with BKFC. I know that he's still under contract with Bellator, and Bellator is allowing him to fight Mike Perry at that UK card. But I wonder if MVP goes in there and say he smokes Mike Perry. I wonder if he'd want to stick around in this sport. And that's just another huge name in a division full of killers already that, what I mean? You could see a
Yeah,
fight against either one of those
absolutely,
guys.
absolutely. Look, Mike is one of my boys too. Mike Perry is one of my boys too. But again, I would like to fight him too. He has a huge name,
Right,
and at the end of the day, this is a fight game. This is
right.
you want to fight the best of the best, and where we're at right now, at the top five, there is no easy fight. They're all hard fights. So, um, yeah, with MVP, he's another killer too. Um, I would think like anybody else, I'm just speaking outside, speaking for myself. But if whenever you win a fight, you always want to stick there and test yourself again.
Right.
Yeah.
So if he were to win this fight against Mike, then I would see him sticking around. But Mike's the dog now.
Yeah.
Yes, he
That's what I'm
is.
saying. I mean, I don't know how that fight goes because
Yeah.
if you watch MVP's MMA fights, he has an awkward karate stance
Right,
style.
but you can't throw kicks or none. So
Right.
so
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
I feel like he might be stepping into something that Mike Perry's more built for. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Unreal, man. It's a crazy division. I have it pulled up right here. I was just looking at it with yourself and Mike Richmond and Francisco Ricky and Dave Rickles and Mike Perry and your Dennis Cedeno. It's like there's a bunch of badasses in your division.
Yeah. There
Oh
is.
yeah.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
The
it's
BKFC
stacked
just
with killers.
keeps on growing. And Jomi Escoboza, I know he fights at 185, but he
That's
also
my
said
guy too. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
Jeremy
killer
said
too.
he would like to come down to 175 and test the waters down there too. So very exciting fucking stuff going on with you guys in the
Absolutely.
BKFC for sure. It's been an honor to have you on here. We always do a speed round with everybody at the end of these interviews. Would you like to do one with us real quick?
Yes,
And then
let's
let you
make it
get going?
happen, brother. Let's do it.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Speed round with the monster, Yuli Diaz. Here we go. First question for you. We are the same age, so we might think the same way. Saturday morning cartoons. What's the greatest cartoon theme song of all time?
What is that? I saw the Warner Brothers, the Bugs
Oh
Bunny,
yes,
Yeah,
Looney
yeah,
Tunes.
the Looney Tune.
Looney Tunes. Yeah, Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
Yep. That's
yeah,
a real
that's,
classic.
hell yeah, yeah. That's all, folks.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Number 2.
Who is on the Mount Rushmore of Miami?
Mount Rushmore, Miami, man. Is that fighting?
Anything you want it to be. It could be
Oh,
entertainers.
okay.
Just
This is
All
your,
right. We
your
got
Mount
look,
Rushmore.
we got Pitbull. We got Uncle Luke. We
Oh.
got Jorge Masvidal. We got Yuli the Monster.
Oh,
And man, you know what? Dwayne Wade, baby.
there we go.
you know what? We were thinking about this, and I didn't even think of Uncle Luke, fucking Luke Skywalker over there.
Come on, man.
2 Live Crew. Jesus, I forgot all about that.
Exactly.
What about Kimbo?
Oh, Kimbo, absolutely. Kimbo. Yeah, Kimbo, absolutely, man. Legend.
Yeah, that's a great. You know what? We didn't even ask you about that, but what is your relationship with Pitbull? Like
Pitbull is
use the first name you brought up.
Yeah, that is my brother, man. Me and him met when we were about 11 years old in school. We lived together when I was a kid coming up, man. And I still talk to him. I still talk to him almost on a daily basis too.
No kidding.
He's been a great inspiration in my life, motivation in my life. He's helped me out with a lot, man, and just an amazing person to have around, man. A great person.
You gonna have him there on Friday?
I wish I could. The thing is with him is that when he shows up, there is no BKFC fight. It's about Pitbull being there.
I bet.
You know?
I bet.
Put a mustache and a wig on him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get one with the nose and the mustache with the glasses.
Yeah.
No one will recognize him.
Yeah, no, exactly. If we just put a wig on him, nobody will recognize him.
Yeah, that shit's hilarious, man. Number 3, here we go. Better classic shoe: Converse All-Star Chuck Taylors or Adidas Shell Toes?
I'm gonna have to go with Chuck Taylor's just because I've never owned a pair of shell toes.
No
Yeah.
break dancing for you?
Nah, man, I was never. I got 2 left feet, man.
I'm wearing Chuck Taylors right this second, but
I got like 7 pairs in my closet, all different colors.
I was a huge fan of Shell Toes back in the day, though. I used to get the Shell Toes with the fat laces because I was a big fucking Run DMC fan. too.
Of course, no, and they are dope. I just gotta go with Chuck's just because I've never, like I said, I never owned a pair of shell toes.
There you go. All right, number 4.
What is your favorite restaurant in Miami?
Favorite restaurant in Miami? Well, I own a food truck called Knuckle Sandwich 305, so I gotta go with that one first. Joe Stone Crab and Prime 112, man. It's amazing food down here.
Will you bring that food truck to the fights or like around maybe the weigh-ins or something like that? Like
No,
after
no,
weigh-ins, you feed everybody afterwards?
I wish I could, man, but with this week, really honestly, this is my last. This one probably Monday will be my last interview, man. Then I zone out. I turn off my phone. My phone turns back on after the fight, and I got like 1,000 messages.
I bet.
I'm going to pull up a comment right now, and this is a guy who's a huge fan of yours. I don't know if you know Big Ben. Big Ben's at all the events. He's about 6'7", and he's like the biggest BKFC fan ever. But he says
he works for the BKFC. He helps him.
Oh yeah, I know Big Ben. I think he won something one time as a fan, and now he's working for them.
Yes.
Yeah, I know Big Ben. Him and his wife, man, great guy. Big Ben, what's up, baby?
Big Ben tries to tell me, he says it's shell tops, you Stu Nods. Get the fuck out of here. Big Ben, it's a shell toe, you son of a bitch. I know. We're gonna have to debate this when I see him in Fort Lauderdale. All right, last question for Yuli Monster. Here we go. What's a song? We've been asking everybody this question this week. What's a song that you know all the words to, but you'd be embarrassed if people knew that you knew it?
You know what? I'm not embarrassed, but a lot of people would be. It's "Careless Whisper" from George Michaels, man. Love that song.
That's fantastic. Awesome answer, man. It's been a real honor to have you on here.
Yes,
I don't know if you're a predictions kind of guy, but do you have a way you're envisioning this fight going and how you see it ending on Friday night?
Like I said, man, this fight's not gonna make it it's not gonna make it 5 rounds. I see myself winning by knockout. and I see myself with my hand raised and a belt wrapped around my waist, And like I said, Francisco, I respect him with everything I have. He's a great friend, but this is business, and he's going out for the same thing. He's going out to knock my head off, so I got to go out to knock his head off, and after we'll have a beer together. So I see myself winning by knockout.
So don't blink is what you're saying. Don't blink, right?
Don't blink. Do not blink.
Don't blink. So everybody go follow all his social medias at the bottom there. Check out his podcast. Check out his mini doc. It's fucking awesome. And that's all we got for you tonight, man. Mike, you got anything for the monster?
Just thank you so much for coming on. Man. We appreciate it. It was great to have this Friday special episode with you.
Guys, thank you, man. It's an honor and a privilege. I appreciate everything you do for us in this country, man. And it's been amazing to have you be on the show. So anytime you want me back on, let me know. All you gotta do, I'm a phone call away, and I'll be here for you guys, man.
Thank you so much.
He's
Yuli.
a gangster and a gentleman, man. I love it. Yuli, we will see you. We'll see you next week. All right, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Love, guys.
Peace. All right. Take care.